Hello folks, Major Gosnell here, and today I'm going to be giving you a rundown on my Steam games list. Now, we've all been there during the sales where we see game bundles or individual games that we feel that we must own and must buy because we're going to play them till Kingdom Come. And then we forget about them and they sit haunting our Steam list forever and ever. So I'm going to give you a rundown of my own list, the games that I have played, the ones I haven't played, and reasons why I haven't gotten around to playing certain games, and the reason why I've sunk thousands of hours into particular games. So, we're going to start off up the top with 7 Days to Die. 7 Days to Die is a zombie survival game. It's still in early access at the moment. It's quite a good game. However, it does get repetitive very, very fast. But it's got sort of a Minecraft-esque element to it, and what you can do building your base designs and what have you, it's quite a good game, I think, and one to watch for the future, but I am worried that it's going to be superseded by later games that are being released. Next down, we have Adventurer Manager. This is actually quite a good game. It's an indie title, and basically 2D. You have standard RPG system. You hire heroes and what have you. They go out on quests. You can manually control them, sort of like turn-based, a la, I would say closest in style to South Park, actually, the combat style of it. I'm not actually sure what that term for that style is, but I would recommend, I believe Adventure Manager is only about £2 or £3 on Steam at the moment, so check it out. It's worth buying, and it's one of those little gems that you'll find yourself going back to when you're on your laptop and you can't really run the powerful games. Okay, next one down, Alan Wake. Oh, Alan, how I wanted to play you so much when you were being previewed. And then I bought you and never, ever actually got around to playing you. I did start you up once just to get the Steam trading cards, but that was about it. And it's just one of those things I never really got why I've not gotten around to playing it. Maybe it was the fact I bought it so late after its release that it was just once again superseded by later titles, which is a shame because this game had so much potential. And I think it was just one of those ones that was sort of forgotten about. And not just by me, I mean in general, I think there's a lot of people with Alan Wake sitting on their Steam lists who never gotten around to playing it. Okay, next one down, we have Alien vs. Predator Classic 2000. This was actually a gift from another player called Bodkins, who used to play this game religiously. It runs like pants now. It has not aged very well. Graphically, it looks fucking atrocious. It was a great game back in its day, though. But the only trouble is the characters move around at the speed of light now. There's some sort of bug where your characters literally... It's like playing a game on fast forward, which makes it very, very difficult to play. Okay, next one down, we have Ark Survival Evolved. This game is taking off in the community over the last 6 months. A lot of people getting very into it. I've tried it myself. I'm not a big fan of the artistic style of the game. Personally, I find it a little too... I don't know, there's something console-y about it that I'm not overly fond of. Maybe it's just me. And there's also the fact that stuff just disappears when you hit it with your axe, which, I don't know, aesthetically, I'm not a big fan of the game. But it does have a really good following, and I recommend if you like if you don't like choking, to actually take a look at this game and check it out. A lot of people enjoy it. See what you think yourself. Okay, next one down, we have the Arma series. Arma 2, Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead, and Arma 2 Operation Beta. Now, I have not played any of the Arma 2s, I don't believe. Actually, I might have. I think I spent some time in the editor designing a massive tank battle, but after that I just forgot about it. Actually no, I bought this for the DayZ mod when it was originally released. So, that's there anyway. I don't think there's much point in people going back to the Arma 2 games now, given Arma 3 is out. I can't see really the point. And DayZ is running as a separate game now as well. Okay, so skipping down to Assassin's Creed 2. I remember attempting to play this, and one of the first training missions where you and your brother in the game have to climb up onto a building in a race, and I just gave up because the controls were so fucking annoying. Now, no, I don't play on gamepad. I play with mouse and keyboard, so maybe that was an aspect of it. But I did find that the game next on the list, Black Flag, actually had much better controls. But there was also the whole future jumping thing with the Assassin's Creed games that I think just ruins the immersion so much for me. So, dropping down to the next one is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, I'm a big naval, 17th century style naval fan, and I had high hopes for this game. And I must say, the towns themselves look beautiful, and the game itself has a nice, fresh feeling about it. But everybody lauded the ships in the game, the ship combat. Personally, I think the ships were fucking awful. They were completely unrealistic. It was so fucking arcadey, it was embarrassing. Wind had no bearing on your ship whatsoever, which for sail ships, maybe do a little bit of research. Sail ships sort of need wind, you know? So, yeah. I like it and I don't like it. It's one of those love-hate ones. And the reasons I don't like it is the reason I bought the game. The reason I do like it is the reason I didn't buy the game. So, yeah. It's a completely screwed up one there. Batman Arkham City. Actually, I have 2 copies of that. Damn. Wonder how I got 2 of those. So, anyway, Batman Arkham City, I've never actually played. Because, as far as I'm aware, it needed games for Windows Live, which I had a lot of issues with running on my previous PC. Haven't actually tried it on this one. And I hated the DRM factor. Really did. Okay, so Arkham City Game of the Year edition as well. Likewise, same reason. Didn't even know I had 2 copies. So, Besiege. Now, this is a game I'm curious about. A lot of people recommend it highly, and I've played a little bit of it, and it does have a certain appeal to it. But I just find it, when you compare it to the likes of other engineering games, it seems very indie, like too indie for my taste. I don't know. I like it, but it just seems a little bare bones for me. It needs a lot of work. But I would recommend, if you like constructing stuff, maybe for younger people, I would recommend this game. Like for teenagers and what have you, it's a good starting point to get into engineering games. Okay, next one down, Beyond Good and Evil. Now this is ranked as one of the best games of all time by a lot of publications, and a lot of people ranked this quite a good game. Unfortunately, I have not played it yet, and I really want to, but the graphics, they shouldn't put me off, but they are putting me off because it's a very, very dated game. I think this came out back in the early 2000s. There is rumors, though, that there's going to be a Beyond Good and Evil 2. So, who knows, maybe I'll check that one out. The Binding of Isaac. This is one of the most annoying, yet one of the most playable games I've played. It's a very indie title. Basically, you go from room to room. It's like a 2D platform. I wouldn't even say platform. Not even sure what term you class this game in. It's kind of like Dungeons of Dreadmore in some regards. Roguelike, that's the word I'm looking for. And you just go through, but there's no RPG system. You find random drops, and it is purely an RNG game as well. If you don't get the right drops, you're not going to win. It took me like nearly 200 attempts before I actually completed the game, and then it was pure fluke. Okay, next one down, BioShock. I don't think I need to talk too much about this one. It is rightly considered an absolute classic. The only issue I ever had with this game was the combat I found a little bit annoying. But aside from that, the game itself, the story, the environment is just one of the best ever. Okay, next one down, we have BioShock Infinite. Oh, the racist BioShock. So, this game, I didn't like. I never completed it. I found it boring. I found the combat boring, much like I did the original BioShock, but I just found the environment, the story, just very too convoluted and too dull. Okay, moving on down, we have Borderlands 2. So, Borderlands 2, it's another one of those games that a lot of my friends praise to high heaven. Yet, I played number 1, and I played a little bit of number 2. Once again, there's just something about it I just find so fucking mind-numbingly boring. It's repetitive, the enemies spawning constantly, I don't know, just I don't get it. I don't get why people love this game so much. The whole 50 gazillion guns, they're not 50 gazillion guns. There's a couple of guns with different stats. That's what it is. There's nothing really innovative about it. Okay, moving down. Braid. I've never played Braid. I've heard a little bit about it. It's one that I need to check out. As far as I know, it's a platformer. Judging by the photograph, it's a platformer. So maybe at some point I'll install it when I'm back in Ireland and unable to play on my main PC. Well, basically when I go to Ireland, I have a shitty little laptop to play on. Okay, Brink. Oh, Brink. What went wrong? So, Brink was a game released, and it had so much hyperbole about it. It was going to be the next big thing, and then it just failed completely. The character models were awful. The mechanics of the game were okay. They weren't anything special. And just in general, it did nothing for people whatsoever. It was just a very badly implemented game type. Okay, next one down, the Bureau XCOM Declassified. Now this is an interesting one. It got released side by side with the XCOM series that you're probably familiar with, the Tactical RTS one. This was released as a first-person shooter, and somewhere along the line there'd been a licensing issue. This got developed, the other one got developed by a different developer. This has nothing to do with the original XCOM. It's first-person shooter. It's very console-y, but on the other hand, there was something about it that I liked. There was a certain element about the game that appealed to me. That maybe it was the 50s setting. It just had that sort of interesting vibe about it that I felt that the other XCOM game missed a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I would recommend, if you're willing to put up with a by-the-numbers game, but just for the environment, go for XCOM Declassified. Okay, next one down. Cave Story. I have never played. I have no idea what it's about. I'm guessing it's something to do with a cave and a story. Next one. Chivalry Medieval Warfare. I've played a little bit of Chivalry. It's not a bad game. I wouldn't class it as one of my favorite ones. I don't really get the game mechanics of it. And having played other medieval games with higher player counts, I just find it a little restricted as well. But overall, it's not a bad game. I'll give it that. Cities XL Platinum, the one that you can't build roads properly in. Basically, this game was as buggy as fuck. I've played half an hour of it. Huh. That'll tell you how many bugs I came across in half an hour. Yeah, spectacular. Don't waste your money on it. City Skylines. Now, this was the successor to Platinum. Excuse me. City Skylines. So, basically, this game is really, really good. Graphically, absolutely astounding. Unfortunately, I haven't really gotten around to playing too much of it. Other games came along at the same time. It's one I'm planning to go back to, though, and I would recommend people check this game out. It has a good reputation, and rightly so. Okay, next one down. Company of Heroes. Company of Heroes. I remember playing this, not on my Steam account, though, years and years ago. When it was released, it was an amazing game. Really well done, really well designed. Now, it's very dated. Very, very dated, and the game mechanics nowhere near up to scratch by today's standards. I'd recommend pick it up. It's in bargain bin. I think it's pretty low price anyway, but I wouldn't recommend buying it just to play it. Buy one of the sequels. There's a lot of upgrades. Company Heroes new Steam version. That's the same one again, I believe. Company Heroes Opposing Fronts. I've never actually played this one. It was an expansion pack for the original. I would assume it's more of the same. Contagion. I have not played. I believe it was originally as a mod on the Half-Life 2 engine, then released as a full game. It's kind of like a zombie game with procedurally generated maps. It's got a bit of a following. and I've heard a lot of good things about it, and as you can see, a lot of my friends play it. So, can't really comment on it, but maybe check it out. Counter-Strike Global Offensive. If you don't know what Counter-Strike is at this point, just pull the plug out of the back of your PC. Go away. Crusader Kings. You know, I really want to be able to understand the Paradox games. They seem like they have so much depth to them, and I really want to get into them, but it's just so fucking obtuse. Oh my god. I've even tried watching Let's Plays to learn how to play these games, and I still don't get it. But on the other hand, don't take that as a negative. If you're willing to spend time learning this game, then you're going to have an amazing game, and I recommend you pick it up and create an Irish empire. Darksiders, never played. I actually used to get this confused with Dark Souls, unfortunately. And Darksiders 2, likewise never played. It's your standard third-person hack and slasher. Darwinia. All I know is it's got computertronics graphics, and that's all I know about the game. Literally. Apparently it was lauded in its time when it was released. Apparently it was quite good. I seriously doubt I'll ever get around to playing it, though. Okay, next one down, Dead Island. Now, Dead Island is one of those games that start off really strong. Really, really strong. But very soon they turn very, very boring and very, very dull. Immensely dull, actually. It's a zombie four-person co-op game, but you can play by yourself. With crafting mechanics and what have you. It's just dull. By the third or fourth mission, it's just repetitive fetch quests. And it's a shame because the game looked really, really good. Dead Pixels. I've played a lot of this, actually. Dead Pixels is a 2D side-scrolling sort of game. You have zombies attacking you. It's a pretty good game, and I would recommend it. You have to have quick keyboard reaction times, though. That's the only thing with it, but it's got a good selection of weapons. The developers actually speak to the community as well, which is something that's always a good thing. I'd recommend checking it out. It is a very cheap game. Check it out. The developers deserve your support when they're releasing quality products at this level. Dead State. I've played a little bit of it. Unfortunately, though, the zombies in the game have no AI that I can detect. You can be right behind them, and unless the RNG decides that they see you, nothing will happen. They don't move around the map by themselves. They stay in the same position until your characters get close. And the story is pretty good. The music, I'm not a big fan of. But just in general, the zombies themselves, for a zombie game, should have been a little more threatening. Okay, Deadlight. Oh, yes, Deadlight. I remember playing this, if it's the one I think it is. Yes, it's basically sort of like a monochromed game, where you're in a ruined New York looking for your daughter, if I remember correctly. Not 100% sure on that. I think I did a video before on it, one of my first videos ever. It's kind of like a Tomb Raider-esque platformer. It's not bad, but very console-y. Very, very console-y. Deadly Premonition. This is one of these games that has a reputation of being so bad it's good. It's bad. It's not good. The controls are horrible. Absolutely horrible. The game itself is very, very dated. It's just one of those ludicrous titles. Yeah. I don't know what to say. DEF CON, Nuclear War Simulator. I've never played, unfortunately. However, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. I don't know if there's much of a community still playing it, though. Maybe check out Steam Spy on that one. Deus Ex. Quite possibly the best game I've ever played. It was one of the first games I picked up when I started PC gaming. And I must have completed it about 20 times. Don't pay attention to how many hours I've played in my Steam account. I've had this game for 15 years, pretty much, or 14 years. I think it came out in 2001, if I'm not mistaken. The game, the story, the music, the environment was just amazing. Really was. It hasn't aged particularly well. Graphically, it looks pretty goddamn awful. Even at the time, it looked awful. But any serious gamer needs to check out this game. Okay, Deus Ex Human Revolution. Human Revolution, I don't think it's as good as the original Deus Ex, but the story itself and the music in the game, I like. I like a lot. And the game itself is quite good. The story could have been done a little bit better towards the end, I think, but especially the last mission, which just had no place in the Deus Ex universe, I don't think. But overall, pretty good game, but not the best of the Deus Exes. Deus Ex Human Revolution, The Missing Link. This was a DLC added for Human Revolution. It's pretty good DLC actually as well. Nice little small story. I'd recommend checking it out. Next one down we have Dishonored. Now, Dishonored I've played. I had a lot of high hopes for this game, and in some regards it actually met my expectations. In other regards it failed absolutely miserably. The game itself, though, it's interesting. The story is interesting, but it's a little too easy, I think. Who knows? Okay, next one down. Distant Worlds Universe. This is a game I've been playing a lot of lately, and I'm actually running a Let's Play on it at the moment as well. It's probably the most in-depth 4X game you're ever likely to play, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is, quite simply put, amazingly well done. It is poor graphically, and the AI does sometimes get very, very borked, but overall it's a true classic. It really is. DLC Quest. This was a spoof game released during the DLC controversies a couple of years ago. Still going on, but it was sort of released as a sort of piss take of the DLC ethos of games companies. So basically everything in the game is DLC that you unlock through playing the game. But you don't pay any money or anything. It's basically you get gold in the game that you then pay for other parts of the game. So you start off with no lighting, no AI. You have to buy the lighting, the AI. As a piss take game, it's worth getting. And I liked that they actually went there. The Minions 4. This is from Elwinter Game Design. It is a cracking game. It does get a little boring after a while, and there's no diplomacy system or anything in it. It's an RTS game, you see. But it's much like Distant Worlds, it's got such an in-depth magic system and unit system. This game has over 3,000 different unit types, which is something that's... it's amazing. It really is. To have that many different unit types, and they're not just there for show. Each unit will play off of other units. No game is going to be the same, and there's a whole magic system tied in with it as well. It's Dungeons and Dragons masterclass, really is. But no diplomacy system, so that sort of detracts slightly from the RTS aspect of it. Dota 2. So this is your lane pushing game, your standard old MOBA. It's Dota. I remember when I originally got it, I didn't like it. I did a very stupid video saying that it was pile of shit. Now, however, I take that back. This game, it's fun. It is very fun, but very frustrating. And the community is a little toxic. Dota 2 test is same again. Dungeon Defenders. This is a free-to-play game I picked up. I haven't played it yet. Don't really know much about it. I'm assuming it's something along the lines of Orcs Must Die. Dungeons of Dreadmore. This is a game I always revert to when I'm back in Ireland on the shitty little laptop. It's a roguelike 2D game, turn-based, cracking good fun, and a really great sense of humor. You can actually find a weapon in it called Mace of Windu. This is the sort of humor this game has. I can't recommend it enough. It's so much fun. Elder Scrolls Skyrim. You know, I never could get into it. I loved Oblivion with a passion. But Skyrim, it bored me. It bored the living shit out of me. Maybe I should have went into the modding side of things. I don't know, but I'm not a fan. Really not a fan. Okay, next one down. Empire Total War. I played a little bit of it. I don't think the engine supported the concept of musket battles particularly well. And this game had a lot of issues. Also, the fact that the cities in the game were just really badly implemented. The way you'd attack them, the buildings themselves, just felt a very weak game. Endless Legend. It's a game I've wanted for a long time, picked it up, and then played 2 hours. Not for any bad reason, it's just... It's one of those games you'd need a lot of time to sink into. I've gotten sort of off the Civilization-esque games, except for Distant Worlds. So maybe someday I'll go back to it. Endless Sky, Space 4Xer. Haven't actually checked it out that much. I started went through this period a couple of weeks ago where I wanted to pick up a few different games, a few different. Sorry, what am I talking about? I wanted to pick up a 4X game. I started off by picking this one up. Then I picked up Star Ruler. Then I picked up Galactic Civ 3. And nothing really appealed to me. Nothing really caught my attention until Distant Worlds. And sadly, Endless Sky is just going to sit there, I think. Europa Universalis. I think I got this free with a PC Gamer game. PC Gamer Mag. And like Crusader Kings, I just don't have the patience to learn it. Fallout 2. One of my favorite games of all time. Fallout 3 and 4, New Vegas, you're not Fallout games. Okay? You're not Fallout games. Fallout 1, Fallout 2, these are the Fallout games. The humor, the environment, companions, the story, amazing. Then you have Fallout 4. No humor, no story, worth mentioning anyway. Graphics that are just fucking awful by today's standards. The environments are horrible. I hate Fallout 4. Fallout New Vegas. I played it, completed it. The ending pissed me off royally. Beyond belief. You didn't even get a chance to kill the main boss at the end. You just killed his henchmen and that's it. Game over. The environment is fucking depressing though. It gets boring very, very fast. Far Cry 2. Could have been a great game. The engine was amazing, except for one fact. The missions were pointless and boring. Far Cry 3. Amazing. I haven't completed the game. I think they slipped up by having you kill Vaz so early. They should have had him as the last boss, not the main boss guy that you end up killing. Game, the environment, the whole game itself is just exceptionally well done. And I recommend everybody who's played it, pick it up. Fractured Space. I played a little bit of it. Not a big fan of it. I need to go back though to learn the controls, I think. Won't judge that one just yet. Frozen Synapse. A game I've always wanted to play, but I've never gotten around to. Those 99 minutes are for Steam trading cards. It's one I might go back to at some point, though. FTL Faster Than Light. It's FTL, guys. It's a roguelike text-based adventure. To a degree, you do have some control over your characters on board your ship. It's as difficult as fuck, but my god, it is fun to play. I have a little Let's Play series on that as well, where everything does tend to go wrong. Galactic Civ 2. I'm actually locked out of this game because I used an email address that I forgot the password to, and you had to register this game on Stardock, which required a password that was linked to that email account. I fucked myself over, and not for the first time either. Galactic Civ 3. I've tried playing it. The camera for the battle thing is just horrible. And one problem I have with most of these 4X games, Distant Worlds included, is the pool of AI races is just so small. It's fucking universe. Give us 50, 60 races to play with, not 8. this pisses me off. Especially when Galactic Civ has workshop support, they could easily have implemented more races. Gary's mod. I played a little bit of it. I think I strapped a carriage to a wheel once. Not a game that really appealed to me. I don't know. It appeals to a lot of people. Just something I never really got into. Ghostmaster. I remember I wanted to get this when it first came out, but my computer at the time was, well, rubbish, beyond belief. And I said to myself, I'm going to buy this someday. I bought it someday and then realized that it's very fucking difficult Sims-esque haunting house game. And it's not as much fun as I thought it would be. Gnomoria is kind of a Dwarf Fortress-esque game. I think it was sort of released around the same time as Dwarf Fortress. The devs, as far as I know, abandoned this game. I might be wrong on that, but there does seem to be some controversy around it. Haven't really played that much of it, though. Gone Home. £20 gone would be a better word for it. Or was it £14? I bought this game after reading cracking reviews about it. Paid, might have been £15-14 I paid for it. And installed it at 11 o'clock. Finished it at 12:40. Yeah. 1.5 hour game. The game itself isn't bad. It's not a bad game. It's quite fun. Atmosphere is cracking in the game. But it's 1.5 hour long at that sort of pricing. Was wrong. And one of the reasons I really got annoyed at this game. Okay, Grand Theft Auto. I played this first one on PS1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I never played it on PC though yet. It's Grand Theft Auto, the very first one. If you're like really retro fan, go and check it out. Grand Theft Auto 2, likewise. I think that introduced moving around on foot. Grand Theft Auto 3. This was the game changer for Grand Theft Auto series. It was the first 3D city. And it changed the game not just for the Grand Theft Auto series, but for gaming in general. It gave players the beginning of the open world games. I've never played it myself. Given when I bought it, San Andreas was already out. Even GTA 5 was already out. I think I actually got all these in a bundle. And the simple fact is, this game gave birth to what is now the open world game. So, just out of respect for the game developers, I would buy this. GTA 4. The story is very, very dull. Didn't like the main character all that much. It's worth getting, though. If you want something away from the Los Santos sort of GTA, you want something a little more dirty, a little more grimy, play GTA 4. Now, next one down, we have... Oh no, is that GTA 4 or 5? Oh, it's GTA 4. Wonder why San Andreas isn't listed as that. Damn it. GTA 5. It's a great game. The story is really good. But compared to San Andreas, it's lacking a lot of features that San Andreas had. Given when this game was released, how long after San Andreas, I just feel it was a bit of a slap in the face. There's no fast food diners anymore. There's no bars. Dating system, as far as I'm aware, doesn't exist in the game anymore. And the online component is quite fun, but I don't know. There's something about it that's a little lifeless for me. But you can have a lot of fun in there, and don't take that as a complete negative. This game you have to play, but compared to San Andreas, not the best of the GTAs. Episodes from Liberty City, haven't played them. Might go back at some point and actually give it a look. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now this runs like pants on my PC. However, when I played it on the, I think it might have been the PS2 or the PS1, I'm not sure which. This game, it's one of the all-time classics. It really is. You have top-notch voice acting, even Samuel L. Jackson. The game itself is just, it's phenomenal. It really is. It has everything. Graphically, it is looking a little dated nowadays, but it's worth it. Get it. Okay, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Haven't played it. Another one of the classic Grand Theft Autos. What can you say there? Great big war game. Haven't played it actually. Gonna have to check that out sometime. Guns of Icarus. Why did I buy this in a 4-pack for my friends? I'm sorry, friends. This game. Fuck me, it's boring. Moving on, H1Z1, one of my favorite games at the moment. Not for the survival mode either, but for the Battle Royale. The Battle Royale is just so much fun in this game. There is a lot of problems though at the moment. There's hackers galore, which is a big issue, and it can be a very frustrating game at times as well. The gun mechanics can be completely fucking retarded. Okay, H1Z1 test server, we can skip that. Half-Life 2. I've never been all that sure why Half-Life is such a popular series. I was sort of got into gaming after the whole Half-Life 1 experience came out, so maybe I didn't really appreciate what it meant for gaming. But I don't know, story-wise, stuff like that, like physics-wise, what it does is really good. But there's just something about it. I've never been a big fan of the Half-Life games. Half-Life Episode 1 had some good moments in that actually, and Half-Life Episode 2 was interesting. Can't say as I enjoyed it all that much. Half-Life 2 The Lost Coast, I think this was kind of like a tech demo they originally released. Can't really remember playing all that much of it. Hearts of Iron 3. If you want to play as a Nazi and invade the world, this is the game for you. It's quite good. It's a Paradox game though, and that's the issue. It's very, 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 very in-depth, and that's the problem. Unless you have a lot of free time to invest in learning the game, you're not really going to enjoy the full experience of it. However, the battle mechanics in the game are very easy to get a grip on and to invade countries. It's not the most realistic though, I do find, but it doesn't seem to take into account like replenishing units, spare parts, stuff like that. But on the other hand, it's one of those like what if games. What if Germany invaded Spain in 1939? So yeah, check it out. Her Story. Now this is an interesting game. It's basically you have a lot of video recordings, about 30 seconds, 1 minute each. A woman talking to the police. And it's basically by typing in search words in the search box, you unlock more videos. So you have to sort of piece together the story based on the videos that you've discovered. There's no sort of end game. You don't have to click a button to say what the story is. You just come up with your own conclusions. And it's really, really quite fun. I liked it. It left me guessing. Hitman Blood Money. Haven't played it? Oh wait, Blood Money? I have played it, actually. I played it on the PS1. A really, really great game. It was one of the best sort of tactical games I've played in a long time. You figuring out how to assassinate your target without triggering everybody else. So many options with this game. It's the best Hitman game in my opinion. Homefront. Never played it. I think it's kind of like a Red Dawn-esque game. Might check it out at some point. Hotline Miami. I played a little bit of it. Game mechanics themselves are interesting, to say the least. But it's very Twitch-based. And when I say Twitch, I mean reaction time-based game. I don't have the quickest reaction time, so I'm never going to be particularly good at this game, and I seriously doubt I'll ever finish this game. But it's well worth getting. I would recommend it. I Am Alive. Oh, now wait a moment. So, do you remember all the way up the top Deadlight? I thought that was this game, actually. So everything I said about Deadlight is I am alive. Deadlight, I have no idea what the hell it is. Just Cause 2, Just Cause 3 is, yeah, Just Cause 3 has just come out. Just Cause 2 was really good fun. Really, really good fun game to play. They've also released the multiplayer mod, which is the next one down, where you can have up to 5,000 players on a server. It's chaos, absolute chaos. Pointless, retarded chaos, but if you're just looking to blow off steam, check it out. Kerbal Space Program. I've sunk so many hours into this. It's basically an engineering game. You design rockets and run a space program. It's got a really good physics engine. You do need to be a little bit scientifically minded with this. Like a layman can probably get a rocket into orbit after 10 attempts. Not saying who took 10 attempts. But it is... Everybody should check this game out. They should teach this game in schools. It is damn good fun. Killing Floor. Not a big fan. A lot of people like it. Personally, I think it's tower defense with machine guns. Never been a big fan of it. L.A. Noire. Really good game. I haven't actually completed it, unfortunately. The story... I have a thing about the police. I love the concept of the police. I'm a good person. Woo! But with the L.A. Noire game, just that sort of 1940s, I'm Detective Cole and I'm going to solve this crime sort of thing. Yeah, it's a cracking game. I highly recommend you pick it up. It's well worth it. Unfortunately, it didn't do too well when it was released. The company went bankrupt as far as I know, but this game deserves attention. Left 4 Dead 2. I've sunk, Jesus Christ, 1,200 hours into this game. Mostly the versus mode. It's 4-player co-op zombie survival. It's one of the best games you'll ever play. There was a bit of a hacking issue with it, and trying to find servers to play on can be an absolute nightmare. Me and my friends joke it's the forum game, but it's a cracking game. It really is. Left 4 Dead 2 beta. Life is Futile. I played a little bit of this, rented a server as well. It's really good if you have a lot of time to spend on a game. However, one aspect that really, really pissed me off was the buildings are pre-made. You can't design your own buildings. And that ruined all my interest in this game completely. If I'm playing a survival game, I want to be able to design my own buildings, not just the layout of where the buildings go. I want to do that, I'll play Fallout 4. Limbo. Really good game, actually. It's physics-based. You're a kid looking for a sister. It's fucking brutal as well when you die, like a little child getting fucking blown to pieces by chainsaws. It's gory as hell. But it's a real classic. It really is. Mafia 2. Played a little bit of it. When you compare it to GTA, the open worldness of it, I know it's not an open world game, but I don't know. It didn't do much for me. Magica. Played a lot of this. This is a fucking hilarious game. It's got this spell system where you can link all your spells together and sort of like create crazy spell effects by linking, say, fire, water, and ice. You get these crazy spell effects that go everywhere. Survival mode is just a blast with friends. If you're looking for a game to get drunk and just piss around in, this is the game for you. Okay, Mass Effect. Played it. Never really got why it was such a big deal. It reminds me strong of the old BioWare Knights of the Old Republic game. Same developer as well, as far as I know. Never really did that much for me. I don't know. Mass Effect 2, haven't actually played it, unfortunately. Probably because I didn't like the first one. Max Payne 2, one of my all-time favorite games. The music, the story... Game mechanics can be a little annoying. Not a big fan of the gunplay in it. But cracking game. Really is. The story itself is just phenomenal. Definitely a must-have. Max Payne 3, unfortunately never got around to playing it. Must do that at some point, though. Though I probably never will. Medieval Engineers. This is a follow-on from Space Engineers by Keen House. Unfortunately, this game is not optimized in the least and is unplayable at the moment. But given it's Space Engineers devs, I've got high hopes for it in the future. Hopefully they'll develop something pretty nice. Medieval Total War. One of my all-time favorite games. It doesn't run now though on the computers because they shut down the servers for the Medieval 2. And it basically means you're stuck in a loop when you launch the game. There's a workaround for it, but its current state on Steam, it's unplayable, in my opinion. Medieval Total War Gold Edition. This is the original Medieval Total War. Unfortunately, when I first bought this game way back when, it didn't run on my computer at the time. Textures didn't load in. I picked it up recently when it was re-released on Steam, and I want to get into it, I really do, because the original Shogun Endy was one of my favorite games of all time, and this was in the same engine, so hopefully at some point I'll get into it. Okay, Men of War. Now, the Men of War games are amazing. They're like Company of Heroes, but the AI for your units is really, really good as well. And the battles seem really realistic. Cannot recommend it enough. Men of War Assault Squad, I bought this so I could install the Star Wars mod. The game editor is just amazing. Voice acting is really bad in these games, I should point out though. But just the design, the game itself, the unit selections for World War II game is amazing. You've got everything from World War II there. Metal Gear Solid V, The Phantom Pain. What an overhyped piece of shit of a game. Dull, repetitive levels, emergent gameplay, which basically means we didn't really know what to add to the game, so make your own fun. Metal Reaper Online. Played a little bit of it. I was expecting something along the lines of Path of Exile. It's atrocious. It really is. Metro 2033. Haven't played it, unfortunately. However, I have played the sequel, Last Light. Really, really good fun, but it is very FPS. There's no other real mechanics with the game. Mirror's Edge. One of those games I really want to play, but I've never gotten around to playing. Damn, I want to play this game at some point. Maybe when the sequel comes out, and then forget about this one entirely. Mountain Blade Warband. I've sunk thousands of hours into Napoleon, and which is one of the DLCs for this game. Also into the main game. It's a cracking game. And I don't think there's any game out there that matches it for style at the moment. You basically, it's an RPG, but you command an entire army that you can actually see fighting around you. It's amazing. It's Game of Thrones game, basically. Multiwinia is the multiplayer version of Darwinia. Never played it, assuming it's a multiplayer version of Darwinia. MTX ATV Reflex, haven't got a fucking clue what that is about. Napoleon Total War. Not a big fan of the mechanics. I'm really not. Nexus. Haven't got a clue what that one is either. Nexus Beta. I'm guessing that was the beta for the game I don't know anything about. Nexus Stupid Mode. Once again, haven't got a clue. Omerta City of Gangsters. Tried playing this a little bit, and it's much like Dead State. It's just not fun to play. It's very dull and boring. And also the zoom thing is ridiculous in this game. You have to really zoom in hard to see your units. Orcs Must Die. Cracking tower defense game where you place traps to kill the orcs, but the orcs AI and reactions to what happens to them is what makes this game so funny. It's priceless humor, really is. Imagine a cross between tower defense and Dungeon Keeper. Orcs Must Die 2. This is a co-op one, so you and your friend can play it. Once again, a really good fun. Out There Somewhere. I think I bought this just for trading cards. I was attempting to make a profit. Didn't work. Papers, Please. You're basically an immigration official in communist Russia. Well, communist, some Eastern European country. You basically check people's papers as they're coming into the country. Each day, the requirements for getting in get more and more strenuous. It's really good fun. Highly recommend it. Patch testing for Chivalry, let's not worry about that. Path of Exile. It's amazing. It really is. From the character builds, it's a Diablo 2-esque game. Hack and slash with random loot drops. It's really is great. The character design system with the gems is just amazing. Check out the website alone for videos and what people have created. I recommend it. Payday the Heist. Played a little bit of it. Not a big fan of it, to be honest. Payday 2. Not a big fan either. I think any game that's concept is gunning down police officers is just wrong. It's one of the only games that I'm morally objecting to on my list, and I normally don't really give a shit. But the concept of this game is just, it's wrong. It really is. Plague Inc. Evolved. You develop a plague to wipe out the planet. Surprisingly good fun when you're pissed off at humanity. Planet Explorers. This is a survival survival FPS with its own design system. The only trouble is, the design system's amazing, really in-depth. You can add scratches to your gun barrels even. But the game is just fucking boring. PlanetSide 2, one I've sunk a lot of time into, and so much good fun. Highly recommend it to everybody. It's one of those games you'll play for 3 weeks solid, then forget about for 6 months, and go back to, for sheer spectacle of battle, having thousands of people fighting around you. Check out PlanetSide 2. Portal the original, really good fun. Very short though. Portal 2, story, game, everything is just fucking brilliant. Prison Architect. You design a prison and you basically run it. Really, really good fun. Highly recommend it to everybody. It's so much fun to play, especially when you get a massive riot going. Project Zomboid. It's been in development for such a long time. I just feel it's been superseded by its peers. I don't get what the draw is with this game anymore. Psychonauts. A game I always wanted. Picked it up and haven't played. Well, 4 hours I think I got for trading cards. It's a platformer game. Given its graphics at the moment, I probably would never play it. Reassembly. I think that's kind of like a side-scrolling game where you build your ship as you go along. Played a little bit of it. It's fun, but not really my type of game. Red Faction, I think that's based on Mars Freedom Fighter sort of game. Not played that much of it. Same with Red Faction 2. Red Faction Armageddon, guessing the end of the world. Red Orchestra 2, Heroes of Stalingrad. This game is one that you have to get. It is cracking good fun. It really is. The game mechanics, the design. The only thing is you need to have Punkbuster anti-cheat installed, which can be a nightmare to install. It really can. But the game itself it's one of my best. One of my favorite games ever. Resident Evil 5, not really played that actually. Rising Storm, haven't played it actually. It is the Red Orchestra 2 multiplayer, just never got around to playing it. Rome Total War. If I need to explain to you why Rome Total War is important, I want to smack you. Rome Total War, it was what Shogun was to the original RTS genre. 3D battles, massive map. It's Rome Total War. It's legendary. Saints Row 2 never played. Saint Rose the Third never played either. Don't think the humor really appeals to me. Scribblenauts Unmasked. An interesting concept. You type in words and the items appear basically. And you're playing in Gotham City with all the superheroes. It requires a lot of thinking, more than you'd expect from a game with children's graphics. The Ship, haven't played. The Ship single player, haven't played. Ship Tutorial, obviously haven't played. Sid Meier's Civilization V, played a little bit of it. Civ games, they're legendary for a reason. Personally, I think that number 3 is better than any of the subsequent ones that were released. Not a big fan of the new graphics on Civ 5. Sniper Elite, haven't played it. South Park. Played a little bit of it, but one of those games I sort of just forgot was in my library. But it has a really good reputation, and the humor is South Park. It's good. It's satirical. It's funny as fuck. Space Engineers. Much like Medieval, it's not optimized greatly, and you're going to need one hell of a computer to run it properly. But it is a fun game. It is. You can build anything you want, pretty much, which is amazing. And now they've added planets, actual planets you can fly down to from space and back up to another planet across the universe. It's fucking brilliant. It's amazing. But it runs like pants. Star Ruler 2, unfortunately, the battles are really fun in it, but when you compare it to Distant Worlds, it doesn't have a leg to stand on. Star Maid. This is kind of like Minecraft in space. However, it's as convoluted as fucking possible, and I just cannot get into it. Startopia. This was originally released by Muckyfoot back in, I think 2001. You basically run a space station, and it's like fully 3D. You've got all these aliens wandering around. It's one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Highly recommend it. Next up, State of Decay. If this game had been co-op or multiplayer, it would have been a legendary game. Instead, it's single player. However, it's the closest I've ever got to the Walking Dead feeling. You and a group of survivors are holed up in a building, and you sort of go out looking for supplies around this small Midwestern town. It's really good fun, but it needed a co-op mode so badly. And it's just missed that mark by not having that. But check it out, it is a really, really good game. Supreme Commander, played a little bit of it. Standard RTS fare. Forge Alliance, haven't played that one, but same again, I imagine. Supreme Commander 2, likewise. Team Fortress. If you like Pixar X graphics and just crazy-ass team-based shooters, this is the game for you. It really is. It's Team Fortress, what can you say? It's one of those all-time classics. Terraria. Never understood what the fucking appeal of this game was. When you have Minecraft, you've 3D games, and then there's a 2D mining game? I don't get it. Thief Deadly Shadows, the original... Oh no, that was number 3. Yeah, so Thief Deadly Shadows number 3. I haven't played it that much, but it's considered a legendary game, if only for the Cradle, I believe is one of the maps in it. So apparently it's one of the most scary games as well. This War of Mine, you're basically... It's 2D scroller where you're inside a house looking for supplies during a war zone. It was based around the Bosnia crisis in the early 1990s. It's fun, but it does get repetitive very fast. But just for the message it gives, it's worth playing. Titan Quest, kind of like a Diablo-esque game. Never really got into it. Titan Quest Immortal Throne, likewise. Torchlight. It's like a 3D version of Dungeons Dreadmore. You could just go down level upon level collecting goods. Kind of like Diablo as well in that regard. It's fun. Not one of my favorite games ever, though. Total War Rome 2 Emperor Edition. The AI is horrible. The DLC situation is fucking disgrace. This game was a mess. It looks pretty, but it's a mess. You want a good Shogun, or good Total War game? Get Rome 1. Don't bother with this shit. Total War Shogun 2. Really good game. They really brought it back to the original Shogun. However, the DLC situation again completely fucked this game up. And the fact was, you'd go into Shogun 2 online battles. People who'd bought DLCs would have a massively unfair advantage over the people who hadn't bought the DLC. And I can't recommend the multiplayer aspect of this game based on that. Toy Soldiers, really good game actually. It's tower defense, but with toys attacking. It's really, really good fun. Highly recommend it. Uncrowded, haven't played. Universe Sandbox, you can crash the Earth into Mars, which, if you're feeling in a genocidal mood, quite good fun. The only trouble was the developers abandoned the game. Whatever way you look at it, they abandoned it to work on Universe Sandbox 2. Granted, Universe Sandbox 2 looks good, but I just have no faith in the developers and can't recommend either of their titles. Uplink is a hacking game. Never played it, heard a lot about it. Apparently it's a classic. Check it out if you have an interest in it. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. It doesn't fucking work on any computer I've tried it on. Why? Because the game is a complete broken mess, much like it was on release. The workarounds is you actually go and look for patches yourself rather than Steam actually getting above their asses and insisting the developers make sure their game works. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, graphically, amazing. Story, amazing, but there's no one around. You're literally the only person in the fucking game. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter Redux, not even sure what that is. The Walking Dead by Telltale. You have to check this game out. It is one of the most emotional games you will ever play. It had me nearly in tears by the end of it. It is a true classic. It's a point-and-click story-driven game based around the Walking Dead universe. You basically play a ex-convict who is looking after a little girl that he finds in the middle of the zombie apocalypse, and it's phenomenal. I cannot recommend this game enough. The Walking Dead Season 2, it follows on the story from the first one. Didn't really have the same emotional pull as the first one, I didn't feel. But still worth playing if you want to see what happens to the main characters. War of Roses. When you compare it to Chivalry, this game just failed. It fell on its ass. It's just not good. War of Roses Balance Beta. Same thing. War Thunder, World War II Fighter Planes. So much fun game. Don't play realistic, play arcade. And just enjoy flying around, blowing shit up. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Played a little bit of it. Very, very dated. The Dawn of War games, I think I played one off this account. It's a RTS game. They're fun, but very, very basic. Warhammer End Times Vermitude, picked this up recently. We'll probably end up going back to it. Bit of a Left 4 Dead 2 ripoff, though. It's got a good systems, but the loot system that's everybody talks about, there's no armor loot, and I like to customize my people. Wasteland 1 is the original Fallout. The original Fallout. This is where Fallout generated from, basically. But due to licensing issues, it was called Wasteland. They were called Fallout. Wasteland 2, released last year. I really want to go back to this, but it has the same problem that Dead State has with very bad AI. Director's Cut, yeah, same thing. The Witcher, Enhanced Edition. Never played it, actually. It's a shame. The Witcher 3. Now, this isn't actually on my Steam. I got this in Origin, but I've added it to my Steam list. It's the best game of the last 10 years. Graphically, story-wise, it's amazing. Combat, maybe not. Everything else, you have to check this game out. It raises the bar on so many levels. The Wolf Among Us, another one by Telltale. It started really strong, but then the story just got fucking stupid. I don't really class it as one of the best ones ever. World of Goo? You basically build bridges using goo balls. It's not actually a bad game. It does make you think. It's a good engineering one. XCOM UFO Defense, the original XCOM. Quite good fun, actually. X Beyond the Frontier. So these are all the X games that I have, from X Rebirth to X Beyond the Frontier. Beyond the Frontier is good fun. Tension adds a whole ton of stuff to that game. The best way to start with the X series is to go straight to Albion Prelude. And it is the pinnacle of the X series. Don't bother with Rebirth, they completely fucked up the game. XCOM Enemy Unknown is the new XCOM game. And XCOM Enemy Within as well. Tactical RTSs with RPG elements. It's fun. Let down a little bit by the AI, I think, and some graphic choices that I can't agree with. Anyway, that is the end of my Steam list. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. Hope you enjoyed, and hope you check out some of the titles on my list. If not, this was completely pointless, and I am going to cut the video here.